My name is Emma. I am 20 years old, and I live in a small city near the sea. Every day of my life feels almost the same. I wake up, drink my coffee, walk to my small job at a bookstore, and then come home. The bookstore is quiet. It smells of paper, dust, and old wood. Sometimes I love the silence, but sometimes it feels too heavy. But last Monday was different. That morning, I woke up before my alarm. The sky outside my window was gray, like a soft blanket covering the city. The air was cold, and I could see a little fog above the sea. I made my coffee and opened the window. The sound of the waves came to me like a slow song. I held my warm cup in both hands. For some reason, I felt a little sad, but I didn't know why. When I got to the bookstore, it was even quieter than usual. Only the sound of the clock on the wall filled the air. I sat behind the counter, picked up a small book, and began to read. Then, the door opened. A bell above it rang softly. A man walked in. He was about 60 years old, with white hair, a gentle face, and kind eyes. He wore a dark blue coat and a scarf that looked handmade. "Good morning," he said, his voice warm and deep. "Good morning," I answered with a smile. He didn't rush. He moved slowly between the shelves, looking at the books as if each one had a secret. I watched him for a moment, then went back to my reading. A few minutes later, he came to the counter with a book in his hands. It was an old poetry book. The cover was soft from many years of use, the corners bent and a little broken. "This book helped me when I was young," he said. "Maybe it will help someone else now." I smiled politely. "Do you want to buy it?" "No," he said, "I want to give it to you." I was surprised and didn't speak for a few seconds. "Why me?" I asked softly. He looked at me with a small smile. "Because you look like someone who needs a story today." I didn't know what to say. My throat felt tight, but I managed to whisper, "Thank you." He nodded and left quietly. That night, I sat in my small room with a cup of tea and opened the book. Inside, there was a note written in blue ink. "Even on quiet days, life can bring you something new." I read the poems slowly, one by one. They were simple but beautiful, like short breaths of fresh air. I felt something warm inside me, like the first sunlight after a long winter. The next day, I took the book to work. Around midday, a young woman came into the store. She looked tired, her hair wet from the rain outside. She walked up to me and said, "I need something to make me feel better. Do you have a book like that?" I looked at her for a moment, remembering the old man's gift. Then I reached under the counter and gave her the poetry book. Her eyes became bright. "Thank you," she said softly, almost like she didn't want to break the moment. From that day, my week felt different. I started smiling more at customers. I began talking to strangers in the cafe near the bookstore. I noticed small things: the sound of the waves, the smell of coffee, the laugh of a child passing by, the way sunlight touched the pages of a book. It all started with one small gift from a stranger. And I learned something: sometimes the smallest things can open the biggest doors in your heart.